got the touchscreen, and it's got that killer always on. This is actually going to be a first for notebooks and netbooks, is that you can actually close it, and it won't just be in standby. It will be on. It will be connected to the internet. It will be pulling down your Twitter feeds. You'll be able to call someone on Skype on their netbook when it's in their bag. It will be on and connected. And I think once people actually experience that usage model, when they go back to a normal netbook, it's going to be very, very noticeable when you turn it, when you have to go through that turn-on process. Even if it's only 5 seconds, it's actually, it's a bit of a barrier.
You know, but we also should never underestimate the brand equity of Hewlett-Packard. Right? It's still the #1 PC manufacturer in the world. They have huge distribution channels. So if a company can kick off smartbooks, I think Hewlett-Packard is one of these companies. And we've seen the one from Lenovo, the Skylight during CES. I'm not sure if this will be a success. At $499, it's not going to sell at all. Well, I'm going to buy one if they come into the market, but I might be the only one.
Monty, we were talking earlier about another device that sits in the category between 4 and 10 inch devices. That's ebook readers, and you picked up something on the Qualcomm ebook reader earlier. Do you want to tell us about that? Yeah.
So talking about all these netbooks and new devices coming out, it's really a matter actually about consumer behavior, and there's a change, and we're at a tipping point where people are looking at these devices as from a usage viewpoint. So basically, even if you're talking about all these specs and new cameras inside, whatever, it's really a hardware business at the moment, and we are at the point to turning like combining hardware with software, like creating new business models for these devices. And it's more about talking about the cloud or cloud computing, or how can you make money like saving your files somewhere else and not on the devices anymore, just having a powerful network to serve the web. And one specific very interesting product are the e-readers, of course. And Qualcomm presented a prototype which is a small e-reader device comparable to the Nuke or to the Amazon Kindle, but with a color display. And it's very fascinating to see the quality of colors, moving pictures, even video is possible, and they will present one of the...
Is this an ambient light readable display, or is this a standard LCD display?
No, it's a special ambient reader device.
That's a mirror-sol display. So
okay, which is really the competitor to the Pixel Qi
That's
screen
a competitor
technology.
to the Pixel Qi,
Yeah. So this actually, it's pretty interesting. We're getting at a point in the technology lifeline now where we're actually able to create such cheap devices that we can target them at individual use cases. And what we're actually doing is creating individual use case point-of-sale devices for selling content and services behind them. And the ebook reader is exactly that case.
It is, and it's really not about technology anymore. Technology, it's getting better and better. It's really about new business opportunities and new business models. Within the MOCOM 2020 Vision Project, we estimated that probably in 2016 or 17, there will be ebook readers or e-paper devices for free, or almost for free. Like you can have a subscription for the New York Times and just pay $1 for such an e-paper device, which serves you without color or even with color. And it's not a matter about the technology. It's really about what you serve, what benefits and added value you can provide.
Yeah.
And it's also with the netbooks. It's really a way to get into the cloud and to probably create completely new business areas. So it's really a disruptive innovation area.
Yeah, it is.
I saw the Wired demo, which everybody talks about right now, on Monday, and it was really like built with Adobe Air. It was really beautiful. So like I'm not a gadget guy at all. Like I promised Steve that I will not talk about gadgets, and now I'm talking about it. But for me, like I said, self-confessed late adopter, I really loved what I was seeing there, like the experience. Like I could never do that with a magazine, and I think that's the big questions. You see, I think this conference is about so many niche devices, asking for consumers to buy them, And the question is, when will they buy them? Will they buy them with experience? It's much better compared to the stuff they've seen so far. And I think we see some early devices right now which actually nail it.
Yeah, and I think you're right.
And devices not named Apple.
And that's because the technology has matured to a point now where we're able to create these devices quickly and cheaply for individual use cases. Let's move a little bit away from software and let's bring it back to Intel here. We want to quickly talk about MeeGo, and then we'll go into talking about the developer community as a whole and this gold rush, not for developers coming to app stores, but for app stores trying to grab developers. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's quickly talk about MeeGo, which is the merge of Moblin and MIMO operating system stacks from Intel and Nokia into one stack, which theoretically we could put across a whole range of Nokia and Intel devices, from smartphones all the way up to netbooks, to create quite an interesting model for developers to think about when you think about the hundreds of millions of potential devices out there. And if we're getting to the point where we've got low-cost individual use case devices, and we can go all the way down to things like, you know, fridges with internet access and all that sort of stuff, then we can talk about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of devices with potentially one operating system, just a few injection points for developers. And that's a pretty interesting model, and I think that's really what MeeGo is for me. Let's quickly go around here to see what you guys think about. Do you want to have a quick chat about MeeGo and what you think it means to you?
Yeah, sure. I think what we've seen in the last 2-3 years, you have all these different form factors, like the fridge. And what people don't know is like most of them run basically on Linux. And I think what happens with MeeGo right now is, and all the app on top of it, you know, like you get a lot of developer opportunities to create more value around all these form factors, which we haven't done before. And I think this is really, really exciting. And as this year we will have all these Linux devices we know, like in-car entertainment, set-top boxes, fridges, whatever. You know, all these devices will get apps on top of them, and I think this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I can only agree with Matthäus. I think even though it created already some buzz on the web on Monday, it was for a couple of hours #1 Twitter keyword, and lots of articles through all not only the tech media, but the media in general. But still, like what we said yesterday, I'm pretty sure it takes us some days and weeks to really realize what impact this cooperation will have. For Nokia, it's opening the world, it's opening their Nokia world to a huge record of hardware development, a huge base of architectures where they can really participate on. And for Intel, it's opening one of the biggest distribution channels in the world, which is Nokia, because you can buy Nokia in every little store, right? Every little telco store, there's at least one Nokia device. So this partnership is just huge. And like you said before, it's all about, we're starting at a device that maybe has a 2-inch display, and we're ending up maybe with TV sets with 80-inch.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a huge product portfolio that both of these companies can create together. And there's nothing like this on the market so far.
Yeah. Hubert.
So from a developer's perspective, I think that there's a few points that are important. First of all, when it comes to OSs, less is more. Secondly, developers care about the install base. So it doesn't matter how hard it is to develop on the platform, what matters is how many people you can reach. And the final thing that I'd like to talk about is platform fragmentation, hardware fragmentation, because it seems like a great idea to be able to code on multiple devices that are very different with the same OS, but at the same time, the reality is that one application will work really well on one platform and not as well on another one. So a little fragmentation is good, too much is actually counterproductive.
Right. Monty.
Yeah, I think what it also shows is that Nokia and Intel are like getting their most advantages together to form something bigger. Especially if you look into Asian market where Sasha knows pretty good as well, Nokia is not playing such a big role. And I think they are really trying to like keep track about the speed of development. Also, what you see at Huawei, what they are introducing here, as well as HTC and competitors of Nokia, of course. So they're really driving the business very fast, and yeah, that's probably an opportunity now to keep track.
That's actually a very good point that you just mentioned. When we're taking a look at the Asian market, Android has a huge momentum down there. It's an open system. The developers in Asia are really embracing it. When we're looking at the Chinese market, we have about 720 million mobile phones in China. And China was just opening the market for 3G January last year. So this market is going to be huge. If Nokia has a chance, and when I'm also taking a look at future platforms that are coming from Intel, for example, Moorestown, right? A combination, getting some smartphones or handhelds with Moorestown and with 3G connectivity to the Asian market with an open operating system, because that's what it's all about in Asia. They really embrace open source and they really embrace open technologies. And with MeeGo, they can deliver this. And this will be very appealing to lots of developers over there, and this can make a turnaround for Nokia on these markets.
Yeah, Matthias.
Let me quarrel with Hubert here. I don't think it's all about install base. I mean, like there's Symbian, you know, and if you do like gaming stuff, it takes 9 months, a lot of money, a lot of development time. So these guys always argue with their install base, but it's not that much relevant. And I think with this one, you know, like when we talked to some of the developers who did Moblin, you know, 2 weeks easy, you know, and they loved it. And some of them actually liked it way more than Android, because it was like, I think I remember a quote, "This is a real desktop type Linux, first time ever for a mobile internet device." And these guys love it. We know this is maybe one just for first quotes. We'll see what kind of traction these guys will get into the market, but I think it's certainly very exciting.